Friday, we just finished week 7. BCA-101, talked a little bit about group work for the spreadsheets. We did some work on student performance. Then we did some website work, and then any project work on their spreadsheets. Okay. This is day 19. Hard to believe. This was for them to log into their local web server, okay, which we'll talk a little bit about here in a couple of minutes. This is just some general items we talked about in class. So there really isn't any notes of value here. The main topic was we talked about comparing yourself. You know, comparing yourself to all these people or people down here. You know, some people try to push people down so they feel better about where they're at, like a bully, maybe. Okay, or some people let the wrong incentives. Oops, let me undo that. Let the wrong incentives try, force them to try to be at the top. Now, I'm not saying it's you're not going to compare yourself necessarily to anybody else. It's kind of up to you. But I think you need to be really careful, because the idea is wherever you're at, like here, wherever you're at, you want to work to do better. That's the key. And don't worry about necessarily everybody else around you. Worry about what you're doing to get better. Okay? I talked about when I was in school, they put the lowest score. Here's a classroom where the students sat. Up here was the teacher. And the kids who got the best score on the test sat over here. And the student got the worst score. And then the scores were all divided up here in the rows in my algebra class. And they were big. There were probably 30 kids in the class. But how terrible is that, to be one of these students week after week? And the idea was these students were going to work their way in. Well, if they work their way in, somebody else is going to work their way down. And who wants to be the student working their way down when they're working hard just to get here? Okay. Now these students, yeah, it was really competitive. They studied their stuff. Who is going to be the one sitting right here this week? Okay. But they were going to do well in school anyway. These are the students we need to be worried about. Anyway. We worked on our website a little bit. The reason we work on that, HTML, is so that we can better understand how it works. Okay, we talked about your student's Google site and publishing it. We talked about Facebook, content management systems. There are a lot of them out there. Here is just a couple examples. They'll let you use these for free, but then the site will put some advertising on there. And so our local site on a server right in the classroom, we're using HTML. We'll probably take a look at WordPress before the year's out. I created a WordPress website probably in about 15 minutes. It's MikeDirksenblog.wordpress.com, and I'll try to blog on that a little bit so we can see an example. We do a lot more web work the next course. Okay, so we finished up the day. Mozilla Development Network. If you search on this, you end up where Firefox comes from. This is it's all open source, and there are really good information here We talked about the key elements of a website, and we listed a few together in class, and we said the purpose of a website, what are they trying to accomplish on a website. We'll talk more about that as we move along. And, are they trying information? Are they trying to manage finances? Are they just used for communication? Are they just using it for selling, which might be finances? Are they just gathering information from you? There are so many things that we use the web for nowadays, and we'll talk a little bit about all those over the rest of the term. We'll do a little work with that the entire term. And that's it for Friday, week 7. Next week is midterm. Next week we actually move through where we're past the middle of the course. 7 weeks after next week, I believe, left. And there is a midterm test that's like the assessments that you took in the unit completions, but no notes and no resources. Just you and the tests. All right, that's it.